Hello and welcome to this first ever PureClarity podcast with me, Andre de Guy. In this series of podcasts, we're going to be providing monthly insights and expertise on everything digital and e-commerce. And we're also going to be talking to some fantastic guests who are going to be providing real business insights on everything e-commerce and personalization. So today's episode is all about the move from high street retail to online e-commerce. And we're going to be talking to Comfy Homes today. So Comfy Homes are a Yorkshire-based home furnishings and furniture company that have seen that shift and been through that transition from high street retail to online e-commerce. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Naj Hussain, who is the founder of Comfy Homes. Naj, welcome to the PureClarity podcast. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here, and to be one of the first is fantastic. And yeah, it'll be a really good insight to see how we get on today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I guess, obviously, throughout coronavirus, this whole pandemic, it's had a massive impact on high street retail. It's been unprecedented, really. I think I was reading the news this morning, actually, that 1 in 7 high street retail shops are now vacant, which is just unbelievable, numbers in terms of. So I really wanted to ask you, in terms of your business, how the pandemic has affected your business and your industry as well, because I have to say I've been buying a lot of home furnishings throughout lockdown, and so I'm really keen to find out how it's impacted your business specifically and your industry.
Well, to be honest with you, I think it's been impacted before the pandemic, the high street. A lot of it's to do with how the government has rates and whatnot. So it's been effective for a few years now, hence why a lot of people are probably going digital before the pandemic. I think the pandemic basically forced the issue with a lot of companies in deciding, right, which one do we really want to focus on, or at least we can spend more time on the one that's been suffering now. Yeah. So it certainly helped us for sure. It's been fantastic because we were always in the tug of war of whether to concentrate online or to concentrate on the high street. And eventually we were forced into that rather than having the option, really, when the pandemic hit. So for us as a business, it's been fantastic. It's had its challenges, absolutely, but it's been very good for us. In terms of industry, I don't think it's affected the industry as a whole as much as it probably could have done. Yeah. Because like you said yourself, a lot of people have been at home, they've been browsing, been buying, and if you've got the goods and the products to what customers want, essentially it's fantastic for the business and the industry. So it's been good for us. We've been very pleased with a lot of hard work, of course. The team's been brilliant. And we've just been plodding along and really going gung-ho, really, and trying to take every possible advantage and make a success out of it.
Fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. It's been so positive for you. Obviously, not every industry, not every sector has seen that. So that's good to hear. But I guess it's been challenging as well for you, right? It's been challenging for every single business. So, what would you say kind of the main challenge for you has been over the last 12 months?
Well, to be honest with you, when you've got high street and you've got online, it's 2 different set of skills. You can't merge the 2 together most times. So you're talking about different types of staff, what kind of skills they have. And as I mentioned, we've always been digitally inclined, even with the high street store and whatnot. But we, thankfully, for us at least, definitely the pandemic helped us because it allowed us to focus more on the digital aspect. That meant getting better staff with better skills for that area. Sure. Yeah. So it's definitely helped us. It's of course had its challenges because you have to then start recruiting and whatnot. And it's a good thing because a lot of people are losing their jobs and whatnot, or uncertain about the jobs at least. So it's been good. And I think all online overall has really shown that that's the future. If people didn't believe that before, it's definitely the case now. And it of course, it's traditionally, look, for hundreds of years, we've had high street and stores, physical stores. People still want to go in and see products, and we get that. And that probably will never go away. It's human nature, possibly. But that's not to say that online has no place. It has a big place, and it's probably going to be in the future. So, yeah, we've been doing great, and we just want to continue to grow, really. And, yeah, it's an exciting journey.
Fantastic. No, that's great. So prior to the pandemic then, to what extent were your products online? Did you have a fully transactional website at that point? Were all of the products in store also available online?
Well, we did. We percentage-wise, we'd probably say about 40-50% was online.
Okay.
So it's fair. Like I said, we've always been digitally inclined. So we've always been building that process in the background. But of course, we did not think we'd be totally online, because that's a massive jump. It's a big risk as well, because it can go the other way, But thankfully, it didn't. It's gone good for us. Like I said, you have to have a different kind of skill set. So it's people coming in. There's only so much you can show in store as well. There's only so much space you have, whereas online you can literally put whatever you want on there within reason. And people, even if they can't see the item in store, it works hand in hand. It was good because they would get an idea of what it would look like when it comes to them, even if they bought something that they didn't see in store. So it works. They both have benefits, and it goes hand in hand. So having to transition just to online was obviously a bit of a daunting task, and some deep conversations obviously occurred. But like I said, it was forced upon us. So we had to act. You have to adapt. Business is always changing. You have problems every other day. You have to deal with them. So we just dealt with it. And thankfully, a year on now, we could say, yeah, it's worked out for us. So we continue to grow and hopefully keep going. Of course, other businesses have suffered. But predominantly, I'd say the ones that have suffered have sadly been that have not had an online presence in the past, and they've not been able to capitalize on that. So that's a struggle for a lot of people, which is sad, because a lot of people invest a lot of time and energy into their businesses at the end of the day. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, especially for things outside of their control, it can be very, very damaging, disheartening. Absolutely.
Yeah. And things like hospitality, obviously have been hit really hard, and that's something that they've not been able to do online, sadly. And now, hopefully, with things reopening, those businesses will start to claw things back. But yeah, it's certainly been a challenge for many, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just curious as to, making that shift to fully transactional online. Was the pandemic the sole cause of that? I'm trying to find out what pushed you to make that decision, or had you considered it in the past and the pandemic was kind of a catalyst to convince you to make that decision, or was it purely driven by the pandemic?
Surely driven by the pandemic. Like I said, we had no choice. The store's shut. There's only so much you can do. But yeah, of course, we had an online presence before that. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to grow our market. We deliver nationwide.
Okay.
We deliver niche products. We have very exclusive products. We have from design to production as well. So then you can't get them anywhere else in the country. So that takes up a lot of time. And then there's only so much time you give to the high street as well as the online side. Like I said, I keep going back to it, but it's two totally different skills. And to manage both is extraordinarily hard. It's very difficult. So it was good for us, but it's a lot of hard work. And with a high street store, you open and you close. With online, it's not the same. You're literally open 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
And that is the same for the staff and the team. They're literally alert all the time, and you can never break off. You can never have an off period or a day off. It doesn't work. So it has its other challenges, obviously, and benefits. So everything's pros and cons, but at least we've had the opportunity, whereas millions of others possibly haven't. So we're very grateful for that. But it's been a lot of hard work. It's not just happened by chance as well. And we're a determined team. And that's why Comfy Homes is still now into its 6th year. And many businesses depart after a year or two. So we're going in the right direction.
Fantastic.
And hopefully we continue to grow. It'll be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. So just on delivery, actually, just out of interest, previously when you had the store, were you offering pickup from store as well? How's your delivery been affected, or has it not really at all?
Obviously now we're mainly just delivery. There's no collections to a certain point. Yeah, like you said before, you had collections. So again, it comes back to the staff. You have to basically invest into that aspect of delivery, carriers and whatnot. And because we have very fragile items mainly, mirrored glass furniture, it can't just be sent by any mainstream carrier. It has to be done by special carriers or independent carriers. It's very special and a niche section to a certain extent, because our returns rate are very, very low. I think less than 0.4%, which is extraordinary.
It's really, really good.
But that's because we take exceptional care with the items. The carriers we choose we're very, very picky in who we choose to work with. A lot of them can't provide the service we want, so we have to think outside the box and whatnot. So it takes a lot of time and effort, which hopefully a lot of customers, when they have been hurt or suffered an experience where they've had damaged goods left there, they've got the inconvenience of returning goods, how to return them, they've left.
It's a bad experience for customers.
It's a bad experience. So they appreciate it, a lot of them. A lot of them may say, oh, it delivers a little bit later than it should be, for example. But if they suffer an experience of having damaged goods, having the hassle, then they would understand why we take a little bit more time to ensure you get the item, hopefully in one piece. And that's the best satisfaction at the end of the day, because the customer can have events planned, guests arriving and whatnot. Yeah. So it's always good to get the furniture on time when we tell them to. And yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. That's great. So what about your product range as well? So have you expanded that since shifting fully online? Because obviously you have a certain amount of space in a physical store. Yeah. Have you expanded your product range at all, or is there plans to do that?
We have and we haven't. It's in the pipeline. Okay. Because there's been a lot of problems with shipping, which has affected the whole country. Yeah, of course. Shipping has mainly been aborted for a lot of companies because of the extortionate costs of the increase because of Corona and COVID. So that's been a real problem and very frustrating for us. And we understand customers can feel also so frustrated because they're expecting something to arrive at one point, which we are, and then we get told, sorry, it's been delayed for whatever reason. Yeah, sure. And all of that is out of our control. So it's a time we're all trying to get through, and we will get through it as a country, but it does take a bit of time, and we are going to have snags here and there. Yeah. But we will try our best, and we try and give customers accurate information all the time. So we be very transparent with the customers. We don't under-promise, over-promise, all the rest of it. We try and give a true reflection of what's to expect. And of course, delays can happen at the same time, come earlier. Yeah. But we'd be very honest and transparent with the customers. Yeah, and that's what customers want, right? They want to be informed of things. You know, if there's going to be a delay, tell them. Don't just leave it until they have to get in touch and say, where's my item? Yeah. I think that communication is really key. Fantastic. That's great. So, there may be some retailers listening to this who still have physical stores, maybe perhaps thinking of making the switch like you've done. What advice would you give to them? If they're considering making that switch, but, perhaps a bit reticent, especially now as some stores are reopening again. What advice would you give to other business owners considering making the switch? It's not easy. You've got to be prepared for hard work. Of course. Like I said, there's no stop time. You're constantly on the go. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of balancing different aspects of the business and of how the structure is of the company. It totally transforms it, changes it, your direction changes and whatnot. So it's not as easy as you might see on your Facebook. So maybe, you can be in another part of the country, in other side of the world, and it's just rosy and money's coming. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. But not in saying that, of course, online is the way forward. You have to be on the train, so to speak, otherwise you're going to miss it. I don't think you can survive now in this day and age without being online. Online presence is definitely key, and you've got to invest time and energy into it. And you've got to have a great team behind you as well, because you will come across a lot of competition, just like on the high street. Yeah. Hurdles, marketing costs go through the roof because now you don't have the opportunity to talk to a customer. You're literally talking through your medium. So it's not as easy as some make out online, but it's definitely something you have to get involved in, I think, now for the future of retail. Yeah, of course. And, we're on a trajectory now, and it's only going to increase. Online says it was already on an upward trend. Absolutely. Yeah. And the pandemic has kind of, just accelerated that. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So let's talk a little bit about your customers then. So what benefits can you see from your customer's perspective from having fully transactional online now as opposed to in-store sales? I would like to think a much better customer experience, because we can probably spend more time in communicating with them online. Whereas before, again, you're always in the tug of war between concentrating on the staff, the store, the customers through the door, as well as online. So you're always in the middle ground. You're not sure where to put your energy, essentially. There's only so much energy you can give. But now at least the focus is on one point. Everyone's in the same direction. So that's great. I'd say that's the key, really. The customers also will get a lot more variety of products. Yes. because now we have a lot of time to actually design more products, bigger ranges, increase the ranges that are already popular, and that does well for us. Like I said, we don't just pick up something where they can get it anywhere else. We are literally designing from source, creating the products on our screen, and then bringing it to fruition and bringing it to production essentially.
So it's really unique for the customer.
It's unique, absolutely, yeah.
That's
until
fantastic.
someone doesn't copy it a year down the line or whatever, for that period of time, you will have it. So you're special in that sense. Once you get that item, you will have that, and no one else will have it. So that's good for the customer. And we take pride in that. We want to increase our range when it comes to exclusive products. We call them exclusive. We want to increase that. We want to increase the ranges. We mainly specialize in bedroom furniture and living room, and then we want to look out into different categories of furniture as well. So we're growing, and there's no limits to growth. So yeah, we're just seeing what's out there, and really just increasing the ranges and giving a great effort in increasing our exclusive items. Essentially, that's what we want to concentrate on, really.
Fantastic. No, that's great. So in terms of personalization then, online personalization, obviously at PureClarity, we're delighted to be with you on that journey and helping with your online sales. So is personalization something you were aware of before being introduced to PureClarity, or and now you've got personalization on the site and you're sort of tailoring what products customers are seeing? How has that had an impact? How's that had a benefit for your customers?
Well, I wasn't aware it was so personalized. So it was great to see that, to be honest with you, because essentially time is precious. Yep. Customers, people struggle for time as it is. So if we can make that experience and journey easier for them when they come and visit a site, it's essentially another search tool without them having to search. It will show them products that they're more inclined to purchase, or inclined to like at least. So it helps them. It helps them if they purchase another item. It'll show them an item that's similar, or an add-on to that item. So there's so many benefits where the customer may not even realize, but when they see the item, oh, I actually need that, or it goes well with this and so forth. So it's brilliant in that aspect, and it does a lot of the work for the customer. So again, they don't have to search, spend time searching. It shows them what potentially other customers have bought as well. So it makes their stay a lot shorter for them. They get what they want quicker, and it hopefully shows them items that they actually want and not garbage, what they don't want. So that's good. And every customer is different. Everyone has different tastes, personalities, and furniture is an extension of your personality, really. So yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. And obviously speed is so key now online. You've got to get people to check out as quickly as possible. And that's something that Amazon is great at. Amazon, fantastic. They show you the products that you are more interested in real time, and obviously PureClarity delivers that experience as well. But I guess it's kind of replicating that in-store experience as well, because you go in a store, where the tables are, where the chairs are, the sofas are, and you gravitate towards that instantly. And then next time you come back, where they are, and you can go visit that area of the shop as well. So yeah, it's speed is paramount. Getting the products to them that they want to see more quickly, and especially mobile. I wanted to talk a little bit about mobile actually, because obviously, as a general rule, mobile commerce has overtaken desktop and laptop e-commerce now. Are you finding the same? Do you know sort of percentage of your customers purchasing on mobile? Because speed is obviously paramount. I do most of my shopping online on a mobile device, and reducing that number of clicks, from the time you first hit the store to being able to check out that product is so essential.
Absolutely. I'm personally maybe a bit too traditional, old-fashioned. I still like the desktop.
Okay.
But as you quite rightly said, I think 80-90% is now mobile. So to be honest with you, a lot goes on in the background whereby we are literally trying to tailor it to the mobile specifically and working outwards for the desktop rather than the other way around. That gives a better customer experience. So we've transitioned the website, for example, in the last year. We're doing so much going forward. There's so much in the pipeline we want to change. Again, always thinking of how we can make it easier for the customer. That's the primary focus. So it's been really good. I love to do that. The team loves to do that, because just seeing, you can get a bit bored of seeing the same thing over and over, especially for us when we're working on it constantly.
Yeah, of course.
But when you see basically new designs and layouts and how to make it easy in terms of finding stuff, it's great. And you have to always adapt. You have to keep constantly changing. You can't just, again, I come back to it. It's not so easy. You can't just make a website and that's it. It's a constant evolve. You have to evolve basically as time goes on with modern designs, contemporary designs, changing design. Otherwise, people get bored, just like yourself. They get bored of seeing the same site looking 40 years old. So you've got to keep adapting and keep growing and keep changing, really. Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously, the world of e-commerce moves very quickly as well. Yeah. New tech is coming out all the time. Yeah. Stores have to kind of keep up with that. But I guess, any process of change, any sort of growth, whilst, it's positive, you should be changing, constantly growing, adapting with your e-commerce store. There's always growing pains and there's always things that kind of, are difficult and challenging to overcome. So I guess what worked well for you and what didn't work so well, in terms of, moving everything to a fully transactional online store from a physical store?
Marketing. Essentially, you rely on marketing if you go online. Yeah. That's how you get your brand out there. That's how you get your products out there. Because like I said, there's no face-to-face anymore. Someone can't just pop in and have a look. You've got to rely on that medium. With marketing, there's no right or wrong answer. It's trial and error a lot of the time. And you've got to be innovative. You've got to be creative. You've got to think outside the box. Again, it never stops. Things are always changing. So 1 minute it's images that people really are fond of. Next it's videos. You have to, again, change, adapt. So it's constantly on the go. And it keeps us interested and keeps the passion alive, so we love that. And we love to have new ideas and new concepts. And so it's great for us. But marketing has also been the negative in the sense you can get it wrong. You can have the wrong creatives. You can be spending the revenue wrongly.
Of course.
There's so many different avenues to go down. You've got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. It's
so many channels. Yeah,
so many channels. You've got TikTok. Yeah. It's how much can you give to each one, and every platform has a different type of skill required. So it's challenging, but we do the best we can, and that's all you can do. And I think, other than that, it's good. That's a challenge, I'd say.
Fantastic. And just in terms of social, out of interest, so what are your primary kind of social channels? Do you have Instagram? Do you do Facebook?
Yeah. We've done that for a while. Without social nowadays, a company will struggle. Yeah. You have to have a social presence. It's what people relate to. You also have to do a lot of marketing in terms of even influencers. But good influencers who actually do care about your products and they have a great following, and you have to tap into that because if they like the product, their fan base will like the products. So there's a lot of marketing that has to be done because ultimately, like I said, because you don't have that one-to-one conversation in a store, let's say, you've got to have the trust, you've got to have the brand awareness, and that's the only way to get it out there. And that's why all companies do it, because we have to. And that's how to reach the masses, essentially. Let them be known we are there should you need us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, myself, so many times I click that shop now button on Instagram. I'm scrolling through and finding a product that I didn't even know existed. But there it is in the feed, and it's kind of like you can click through and you land on the website and you make that purchase straight away. And, I think, and especially with something like PureClarity, using the personalization aspect, you can therefore match that social campaign to the website. So when they click through from the social campaign to the website, you can have it branded up, matching the product or offer or whatever it might be. So you can create that seamless multi-channel experience now, which is really good. So just in terms of PureClarity then, obviously we've touched on personalization a little bit. Specifically talking about PureClarity, what would you say the sort of single biggest impact PureClarity has made on your website?
It's increased revenue. Because like I said, it's showing people the products they want to see. So that's good for us and it's good for the consumer. It's very good in the sense it is aware of a repeat customer and understand if it's a new customer. So it'll give them offers appropriate to that type of customer. So being so personalized, I mean, you can't get better than that because you essentially know who the customer is. So it's as if they're walking through the store. You may have seen them before. You know exactly who they are. You've got that relationship. Whereas online, you've got no idea who's looking at your website.
That's it.
But that PureClarity, I guess, bridges that gap in the sense, you know that customer, he's been there, you know what they've been looking at. So it most definitely gives a customer a better experience, because keep coming back to it, but it's what they want to see. And we are showing them the quickest way, the best way of the items, hopefully, that they're interested in and want to obviously search the site for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of common sense, isn't it, really? If you give them a good experience, you show them the products that are more relevant to them, they're more likely to buy from you more and more often as well, and keep coming back for those return purchases. So, no, that's fantastic. So, I guess, there are a lot of retailers out there, online retailers, e-commerce stores that haven't explored personalization. And we actually, at PureClarity, we did some research last year with various SMEs about personalization. And many of them had heard of it or thinking about it, but they hadn't kind of taken that leap. And there were a few reasons for that. I think one was perception that it was very expensive, well over 4 figures, every month for this kind of tech. And another was, they were perhaps a bit mistrustful of the tech because, essentially you're handing over your merchandising to a machine. It's using machine learning to kind of drive those product recommenders. So what would you say to those businesses that have perhaps thought about getting a system like PureClarity in place but haven't done so yet?
Well, our mindset is very simple. If it brings in more revenue than you're spending, it works. It's as simple as that. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to figure that out. It's like any marketing. If you do leafleting, and let's say you want to do leaflets back in the day, you're doing it with the intention it's going to bring in some revenue, and hopefully it does. It'll outweigh or out cost whatever you spent on it, essentially. Yeah. So that's the target. And if that is being achieved by personalization, then I'm not sure how you can be disappointed by it, essentially. So it's an addition to your website. Your website has to have many tools. You can't just rely on your natural organic and whatnot. You have to adapt. You have to try different, like PureClarity, for example. You have to try different things, different algorithms and whatnot. So every setup has its own strengths and weaknesses, but definitely, I would say it's a strength for us. And like you said, in terms of cost, I don't think it's so expensive, and it's definitely required nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people are starting to realize that, because the more e-commerce businesses adopt personalization, the more people are realizing my competition is actually using these systems. Yeah. I need to keep up and actually use those systems as well. And like any technology, it's kind of, there are the early adopters, there are all the people in the middle, which makes up the biggest percentage. And then there are the kind of people at the end that go, oh, everyone's using this now, I need to get on board as well. But it's great that you're using it to such great effect. And it's fantastic to see, such great results on the website. So that's great. So what's next then for Comfy Homes? What are your plans over the next sort of few years? Have you got plans to go global? Any other plans upcoming that we need to know?
Probably not global because of our products, how they are. It's very difficult to ship them abroad and whatnot.
Of course, yeah.
Because of their it's fragile. But we are going to keep expanding. Like I mentioned before, we want more exclusive products. Our product range is going to increase. And that's where we're focusing on. We're going to be importing from around the world.
Oh, fantastic.
So different types of furniture. And we're going to, obviously the pandemic has stopped that. So certainly you can't travel. But once everything hopefully gets back to normal, we will definitely be concentrating on that. So that just essentially means all the customers we have built up over the last 5-6 years, we can give them a better service, give them better products. And once you get a customer and they're happy with your service, they will use you again. Why won't they?
Of course.
So we'd like them to come back and have a bigger variety to choose from, and at much more affordable prices. So it's great. We're going one way and that's up. And we will continue to make the customer experience better. And it's only one way for us, like it has been for the last few years. And even during the pandemic, we've not let it stop us or hinder us. We've been carrying on.
That's fantastic. And it's fantastic, that you've been able to do that during a pandemic. That is such a major shift in your business to move from that physical store to online. So it's great to see that it's been so successful for you. And I'm sure it would be for other retailers as well, considering making that change. the proof is here with you and Comfrey Homes that, it can be done, it can be massively successful, and actually you can increase your sales by doing this. There's a lot of retailers, I think, that are, reticent to make that full shift, but, 1 in 7 stores now being vacant in the UK, surely should convince people, look, if they're thinking about making the shift to fully online, now's the time to do it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's not easy. It's very hard to do that because when you've been programmed for hundreds of years, generation after generation of relying upon stores, to then shift totally, I mean, that's a massive, massive shift. It's different when you're starting a business, and you can start an online business, great, but you have no other expectations or nothing to lose. But when you're transitioning, it's you going totally opposite to what you were doing currently. So it's not easy, but you've got to, if you're confident in your product, if you're confident in yourself, if you're confident in your team, then you've got to take that plunge, and hopefully it'll work out for a lot of retailers. But it won't work out if you don't try. You've got to try. So yeah, it doesn't always have to be instant. I mean, you can gradually grow it while side by side with your retail. Yes. I think eventually the penny will drop where you think, I have to focus all my energy and put my eggs in one basket, even though that's not wise sometimes. But to a certain degree, you have to now because it is a tech world. And technology is always improving, always enhancing. So you have to be on that train, and you just have to be part of it. And hopefully you have to be one of the first to try new things as well. Not be the last one to try it, because otherwise you've missed the boat. So yeah, you always have to be thinking outside the box, and just as long as you've got the drive, you've got hard work, there's nothing that can't be done.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. So I just wanted to talk about other tech as well for a moment. So, obviously e-commerce is changing all the time. New tech is coming out all the time. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on things like, you have a lot of virtual showrooms now popping up, so brands are kind of having a kind of VR experience, where you can put on a headset and you can kind of explore product ranges as if you're in a physical store. What are your thoughts on that? Have you seen these kind of systems?
Not really. I've heard of them, and it's something we're probably going to be looking into. Like you said, it seems like a great idea. It's literally like having a store, but not having a store, but the customer feels like they're there. So it's definitely something we're going to look into for sure. And I think it's anything that improves or gives a customer different options can only be a good thing. So I don't see no harm in it. I think it'll be good. I think it's the way forward. More people are inclined to videos, and more virtual reality is becoming more the norm now, where it might have been alien a few years ago. So, and tech doesn't stop. So once it's got to a certain level, it's got bored, it thinks of new innovative ideas, and then that's it. Everyone starts to follow. Absolutely. So I'm guessing that's probably the next stage, and you have to again adapt, and you have to get onto it.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and the other one is voice commerce as well. So ordering via smart kind of home systems, is a big one. I mean, that's an interesting one for me because I can see it working well for kind of consumables. So order me another 100 tea bags or whatever it might be, But I guess thinking about products like you sell or fashion, for example, things that are very aesthetic, you kind of need to see those kind of products. So maybe there's some way to go before we can see your kind of products being ordered by voice, unless there's some kind of 3D projection or some image that goes with that smart system. So yeah, what are your thoughts on voice commerce?
Interesting. And like you said, it's probably again the future. But what seems alien now would probably the same things that seem alien today were alien 15 years ago. So our mindsets, human nature changes, and you just adapt, and people are always fascinated by new ways of doing things. So it's all about the young generation. If they get used to it, it's like smartphones, when we were young, we never had one.
No.
Didn't know what it was, before internet even.
Indeed.
So the new generation don't know what the world was like before. How did we survive?
Indeed. Yeah.
So I guess you just adapt, and the generations get used to it, and you just it's. I mean, that's voice. There could be so much more going forward. We're just not aware of at this moment in time, and any shape or form which improves our lives is a good thing.
Yeah, that's it. And you have all these room visualizers now. That was something else I wanted to ask you about. I was ordering some kitchen tiles last week, and it was great. I hadn't ordered tiles for years, I don't think, but it was great to be able to take a picture of my kitchen and see the different tiles and try them out in my kitchen. That's an amazing piece of tech. So yeah, have you thought about having those kind of visualizers as well? That kind of tech.
Again, it goes hand in hand with what you just mentioned before. So it's similar. It's new ideas, new concepts, and they will filter down to everybody essentially once they're rolled out to, let's say, the big mainstream. Yeah. So they naturally do. So yeah, it's definitely something we would look into and hopefully be able to, like you said, it's brilliant to see your living room essentially, or your home in front of you, and how that product visualized looks in your space. I mean, you can't get better than that. It's better than looking in the store, because you still don't know how it's going to look at home. So if you can create that experience, and it's fantastic. Yeah, it's amazing what these systems can do. My kids, they use all their augmented reality, getting dinosaurs walking through our living room, which is, well, I certainly never had that as a kid. I wish I did. I would have loved that as a kid. Fantastic. So, no, that's brilliant, Naj. So it's been great to talk to you. It's been really, really insightful to find out more about your journey from high street retail to online. And obviously, anyone that wants, bespoke furniture and home furnishings, made by yourselves, can visit www.comfy-homes.co.uk. That's it, yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Naj. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and it's great. And hopefully we'll continue to progress and bring joy to people's lives, basically, by giving them great furniture. Absolutely. Thank you, Naj. Thank you for having me. Fantastic. Right, everyone, so that's the end of our first PureClarity podcast. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe to be informed on when the next podcast will be available. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you. Take care.